Okay, I call the meeting of the Art Commission for Thursday, May 11th. It is now 5:07. Let's play ball. As far as a roll call, the chair, myself, position one, Carla, are you here?
Here.
Carl Friends here. J.R. Russell, position two, chair here. Mary Hines, position three, give us a thumbs up if you're here. She's checking in remotely with a huge thumb. Joanna Hanson, trying to make it. She's not here. Cynthia Mason, co-chair, not present, not going to be here. Position six, vacant, not here. Therese Kinsberry.
Here.
Position seven, alternate is not here. Vacant. Council member Eric Marshall is here. Okay. So for the agenda, the only thing we've got is approval of minutes, public comment, and discussion of some of the items. Does anybody else have anything they want to add to the agenda? Is that everybody happy with the agenda?
Are we going to discuss Laura Renniger?
We probably should. I just read that.
I read it
Oak Harbor.
because I was running out the door.
Oh,
The Oak Harbor, or what is it, the Very Oak Society, right? Yeah, in the park.
She doesn't
Okay.
understand the sculptures that are gonna go there. She doesn't understand that they're not being designed to go visit. They're just things to drive by as you come into Oak Harbor. They're gonna be on the front point of Centennial Grove.
why don't we just add it to the agenda?
Okay.
We'll put that on as,
Okay.
we'll put that on as item C, and then bump everything down for the progress of development of priorities and planning for community engagement. Okay, everybody happy with that as an agenda? That's it. By your smiles and laughters, we can move on. Now we look for public comment. During this time, citizens may comment on subjects of interest not on the agenda or agenda items. If you're out there, please state your name and where you're from clearly, and we're going to limit you to 3 minutes. Okay. No public comments. That's Kim. She's the new admin person up on the side. Okay, so now we'll move right to item 5, discussion, action, presentation, report items. The first one is an update on the Kinnebrew Collection. Do you have anything to offer on the Kinnebrew Collection? I just know we've got two of them are in.
Meditation was installed yesterday, I think, or the day before. Day before.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna happen Friday. So people just started saying, I saw it, I saw it, I
Yeah,
saw it.
that's good. I think it was good. So I have something to add though about the Pocket Park, because I met Monica from the Garden Club there. Just to kind of talk about the pots and placement. The picnic table got taken away. Was that? You know anything about that?
It was probably moved for the downtown
Oh, okay.
building. Okay.
Okay, so the round one will be, because there's nothing there except for a bench. So we were thinking maybe we could get a picnic table there.
Main Street just emailed me today saying, hey, can we get rid of the tables
Maybe,
now?
okay.
So our crews are.
Okay. And then some of the pots got broken from, because they had screwed them down, bolted them down, and so when they tried to move them, they got broken. But the garden club seemed to think that between them and the parks department, that the pots would get replaced or because there's probably like 2 or 3 that need to be replaced.
What did they think about the trees?
Well, I think that's probably the, we talked about the one that they had pruned a little bit, and we just thought that it could probably be pruned a little bit better, not so just these branches out like that. Maybe just cut a better pruning job on that one.
Look through a couple seasons too, to see how they bloom and. But then maybe take,
I mean, I don't, yeah, I
can we
think,
get a better picnic table?
yeah. I would
That's like a
suggest that, too.
1940s picnic table. And maybe at some point commission a student or someone to paint on it. Like give it a face, and that can happen like maybe once a year. every other year.
So what's that statue called?
Temple Blue, it was Balancing Act when he sold it first, but it's been in. We're the fourth hands.
Just a couple things on some of the installations. As far as Temple Blue, Gideon and I were supposed to meet Ginger with community development out there just to look at the inspection of it. I don't know if I'd call it a concern, but just looking at making sure that it's not the risk management term is attractive nuisance, right? So something that kids would look at and say, oh, that looks fun to play on, but it's really not designed for that purpose. And we have some, ledges and sharp edges and like the bolt screws are sticking out. So she was busy and with something else, I guess, and wasn't able to go out there and meet us. I don't know if we'll do anything for it if it needs anything. If she does say, hey, we need to somehow address, that this is not meant as a interactive piece, just a visual piece, what are your thoughts on if we were to put just a little railing around it or something?
Would a sign work?
Maybe.
Like,
They'll probably do due diligence.
I mean, well, and in the end, if there's a big bold sign and you climbed on it anyway, then you were warned not to climb on it. So, I mean, I don't ever see anybody even hang out there. Have you ever seen anybody hanging out there?
In the summertime, maybe when it's really nice, some winter people might go over there to eat lunch if there was a table, but.
Yeah.
It's not on the main path for kids to like, oh, let's go walk up this
Yeah,
way,
there's-
unless you were gonna go walk to McDonald's. That's go something to eat. Now you're gonna walk on that side of the road because it's.
Definitely start with a sign.
Well, if we don't have to do anything, then great, I'll leave it alone because public art pieces aren't meant to just be there. And I hate sign pollution. I hate sticking sign in front of everything.
Okay.
But if we have to, I'll address like grinding down the bolts.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
You've already created the risk by saying, do we need a sign or there is a risk? So then you now need to mediate the risk.
No, I don't know if there's a risk or not.
Said the insurance woman.
That's what we need to be community development out there.
So now, what I'm saying, since it is a question, now you have to make the assessment
Right, yeah.
in a real way. So now that it's been spoken, now it has to be resolved. Because just in case something does happen and you didn't resolve it when you had the opportunity, now you are 100% liable.
Well, you could say that about every single Parks and Recreation.
I'm going to say it because you said it in this forum and it's recorded, and so this wasn't a private conversation.
Yeah, well, like I said, we're going to meet with public or community development out there to assess it and see if we need to address it. I bring it up simply for if something is required, there's several different options. We can, modify how we have the bolts or, whatever, or we can make it so there are no cement ledges or whatever, or do we put signage or put a railing? There's a lot of different options.
Yeah, so see what the assessment person says.
Could you do something simple, like put a little stanchion or a post on 4 corners and do like a yellow chain? I mean, that's clear that this isn't a gateway to play. And it wouldn't really take away from the sculpture if it was just a little bit of yellow chain. Might add to the overall color scheme.
Okay. And then for meditation that was just installed, have you guys seen it?
Mhm.
So, yeah. So apparently there was some surprise as far as in the discussion for the placement. This is before my time, so I'm hearing this kind of secondhand from Blaine, but there was, I guess, discussion with council before the agreement was passed. And even though the motion was passed, the discussion with council was kind of going the other way. And I guess the concern was putting a public art piece on private property. It's the only public art piece that we have on private property, not public property. Blaine was going to, and we had not heard of this before because we had a signed agreement, the council had passed it, and so we thought it was done and went ahead with the installation. Blaine was thinking of putting it back for reconsideration to see if council had any comments. If they want to reconsider it, it's already installed, but what do we do at this point? I think he's going to have some one-on-one discussions with council. It sounds like the mayor at this point wanted to just, let's see if we're okay with just leaving it there. Like I said, it's the only art piece that's on private property, but we have an agreement in place, so I have no concerns with
It has a really good high exposure as you drive by.
So I could actually speak to that, because I'm one that addressed it, because it happened December 7th, 2021 at the council meeting. It was brought before council to authorize the expenditure for the repairs. And then there was a $5,000 allotment for site prep. Councilmember Wiesner questioned putting public art on private property and the liabilities and such that go along with that. And then accessibility as well. If it wasn't going to be accessible to anybody and everybody 24 hours a day, then that was cause of concern. If Boys and Girls Club was going to restrict any kind of access to it, was going to be cause for concern. Blaine had assured Councilmember Wiesner at that time, council was only approving the expenditure for the repairs and that the final location would come back before council at another date. Councilmember Wiesner explained in the packet, it says that we are being asked to authorize $5,000 for the placement. Again, Blaine assured them that they were only authorizing the repairs. Then Councilmember Servadius echoed the same concerns. He said, I don't disagree with Councilmember Wiesner. I think he has some very valid concerns. I'm okay with approving the $5,000 for the installation simply because it's going to have to be installed somewhere. We're still going to debate where it's going to go. And then Councilmember Stuckey echoed the same sentiment. He said, I understand we're going to discuss a final placement. Is this $5,000 going to be accurate if we find an alternative location? And at that time, the Public Works Director, McMonkin, said that $5,000 would be applicable for wherever we put it within the city. So council voted on this motion with the understanding that the location was not finalized and that was going to come back before council. And I've had discussion with Blaine over the past several months when I've seen it, when I saw the work start in front of the Boys and Girls Club. I questioned, it looks like a pad's going to be poured. This was not approved by council. We need to make sure that we got all our ducks in a row, that the pad was poured. I brought it to them again. So I'm actually one of the ones that went out and said to Blaine that I don't agree with the way that this went down, because how it was discussed in the public meeting was that the final placement would be cut back before council. And so as far as I'm concerned, as far as Councilmember Wiesner is concerned, those concerns have not been addressed. The concerns about private or public art on private property have not been addressed yet. And so until they are addressed, I for one am uncomfortable with that piece being there because of the liability. And this is something that we talked about. We talked about it with Mary before, and Mary's even expressed her concerns about it.
Somebody signed a piece of paper.
It was signed. So the resolution passed as presented and was signed. Now, I have not gone back to check the following meetings minutes yet to see how that was presented in the meeting minutes. All I did, I went back and I rewatched that December 7th meeting and listened to the conversation, and it's very clear that the council was voting under the auspices of the location was to come back before council. So
it never came back.
Well, that's
Never came back.
interesting.
That's completely interesting.
Then why did it
Now,
get put
did the
there?
first time when they said, hey, we're gonna put this in, did that go before council?
When it came before council, and then again, this precedes my time on council. It just
Yeah.
happened to be the meeting that I presented about the Facamar Road. So I was there. I was in chambers when it happened, and that's why I remember it so vividly. And I remember Councilmember Wiesner's questions, and I thought they were very valid questions. His number one question, the very first question out of his mouth is, how did we come to this location? How is it that we got to the Boys and Girls Club? And that has not been answered, you know, and then the liability risks that go along with having city-owned art on private property, those have not been addressed yet. So this whole matter was supposed to come back.
The question now is like, was it even the Boys and Girls Club when it was
presented
I
on
think
December 7th, it was the Boys
yeah,
and
and
Girls Club.
I think actually it was picked, that location was picked because it was visible from the highway and we had Temple Blue. And then we thought, hey, we could put it there and it could be accessible to people. That was the thinking.
I haven't read back through what the exact motion was, but something in the motion was basically to authorize the mayor to sign this agreement for the placement. The mayor signed it.
Yeah, wasn't there an agreement with the
Yes.
Boys and Girls Club?
Yeah.
That-
took a
But
while
the
to get
discussion
there,
with council was not in that direction, even though they passed the.
That's
budget.
correct,
Right.
yes, yes.
And that's what Blaine caught in his concern on what he wanted to bring back to council. So anyway, just to make you aware of that situation, there
Wow,
probably will be
yeah.
some discussion in the future.
And then I'm not sure that council's opposed to that. If we can get these questions answered, then I don't see why there would be an issue with continuing to move it forward. But to the best of my knowledge, since that December 7th meeting, those questions have not been answered.
Who would answer?
If they would essentially have to come from Blaine, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that's really where the information that was being presented to council at the time was coming from Blaine. And the information presented was, you're only being asked to authorize the expenditure for the repairs. The final location will come back before council for approval.
So there's some disconnects.
Yeah,
and that,
You know, between staff's marching orders of what they thought was going forward and approved it and what was supposed to come back to council. But if that does go back to council and they decide, you know what, it's not in the city's best interest to have us on private property, we want to put it on public property that we can control. Have there ever been any discussion of alternative locations? Do you have anything in mind of a
no, but we're gonna start
Proposal?
thinking about it.
I got my eye on Sumner Park for something, but I don't know, again, now that's across from a daycare and in a park. That's gonna become a huge attractive nuisance, you know? It's welded down and I mean, all the rickety position that it was in when we got it is taken care of and it's, you know, bolted down. It's not gonna tip over. If anything happened, the kid would
No,
fall off.
I'm not concerned with that art piece, like this other one, you know, that has like a box right there. And like I said, it has like a
Yeah.
ledge, and the way it's bolted down, it's just, you look at it, you're like, make sure someone don't trip.
Get out there with my angles right.
Yeah,
But
but with,
one of the questions with the Boys and Girls Club is accessibility. Can people go to it anytime they want to? Where's the Boys and Girls Club gonna limit who can come onto the property to do a piece? And so because it's public art, the public should be able to access it anytime. And if that means going up and wanting to touch it, is the Boys and Girls Club gonna prohibit that? So those are some of the questions that were not addressed, and that is cause for concern, because if it's public, then we want the public to be able to access it. We want it to be
Or a
accessible.
photo
I
opportunity or.
Exactly, yeah, stand by it, and so we weren't sure what the Boys and Girls Club was gonna limit, if they were gonna have any kind of restrictions
Well,
on
wasn't
people.
there a discussion with the Boys and Girls Club about it?
Cynthia was the connector.
Yeah.
with
well,
them.
supposedly there's an
Okay.
agreement.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we just look at that agreement. and see
Okay.
What's in that.
I guess we'll just have to discuss it more at the next meeting after we find out all this stuff.
Yeah, let's
You guys
see
talk
what the
We're
mayor
gonna figure
Yeah.
that want to do with it.
Okay.
But yeah, if it's going to go to council, I'll definitely check it with you guys, you know, just to say, hey, our commission is aware of the issues,
Yeah.
aware of it. If council says, no, this is no good, let's put it somewhere else, our commission would recommend this.
Yeah, we
Locations
definitely
are-
could recommend another spot.
you
That's
know,
fine.
that's, we're like
We
a
just
couple
thought it
of,
was visible from the highway and that.
we're like a
would be-
nice day away from a bunch of kids being out there standing around it, Boys and Girls Clubs with big thumbs up, saying, this is great.
Yeah, thanks for the piece of
Yeah,
art,
thank you.
Garber.
That was a pretty good update.
2 interesting updates.
Yeah,
So then item C would be what we wanted to discuss for who, for the Gary Oaks.
oh, so she sent out an email, now see, here's another thing, I thought this had already been discussed with Gary Side and but this piece called,
Centennial Grove,
but the art piece.
3 totems.
3 totems, that they were okay with it being out there, and then she sent a letter saying,
I can read it to you guys.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but-
So from Laura Renninger, she says, hello, Gideon and Cynthia. We are surprised to hear there are plans for the city to install an art piece in Centennial Grove. Respectfully, does the Art Commission know the history of this site? It is not a park, nor is it zoned to be a park. Special county restrictions due to zoning designation as military crash zone, although it is under Parks and Recreation jurisdiction. Is this a safe and suitable choice? Won't the public who is restricted to be on the property only in very low numbers become curious to seek to visit the art pieces? There is no parking at the site. Per restrictions, only 16 to 18 people can be on the site at one time, 1 person per acre. We thought the city had future plans to allow expansion of the Oak Grove as the primary purpose of the property. Technically, Gary Oak Conservation Land was to mark the 100th anniversary of Oak Harbor by planting Gary Oak trees to create important habitat for many forms of wildlife associated with native oaks, with concern Laura and the Oak Harbor Gary Oak Society.
So see, I thought she was on board with it, I thought that there was
I
a
assume she
discussion.
did. I walked with Gideon and he GPSed it. We were gonna put them as far to the front corner as possible so that you just see them as you drove by, and we're not gonna do any major fixing. We're just gonna sandblast them and let them rust. So they're not, again, those aren't something that I would say, oh, look, I got to park my car and go walk up and look at and touch it, because it's obvious this isn't a park. It's not gonna impose on the Grove. We just all thought it would be fun to have something
Like sort of
simple. They're very skinny.
look
I
like
mean,
a
they're
tree,
they're
I
this
mean,
big, their
it's
bases
already-
are this big, and they're 8 feet tall, and there's 3 of them, and they're,
But, okay, so once again, then that probably needs to go to council, so council can judge that or see if it's okay.
Cynthia's already approved location for either the 2 second or third installation of the collection. Did that location go to council already?
Yeah, so I think that has to go to council, I guess. If it
and then we
works
should
in
find
there,
out where we're gonna put
and if it,
Gate of Inspiration too, and just get it all figured out at once.
So I don't see the 3 totems as being any different from having airplanes alongside the road. I mean, we drive by, we look at them.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
in addition, just to throw some fire or fuel on fire, I guess. is,
Okay.
December 21st meeting, which happened to be the one after I presented about the Backmont Road. There was discussion about, well, that road would help then to create a park, and Centennial Grove is a future city park, and so there was discussion about that as being a potential future city park. And so if that was the discussion by staff at that time, then clearly there's some intent to allow people to go in there at some point. You know, it can't be a high, she's correct, it can't be a high traffic area, high density area, but having a few people in there is not an issue.
No,
It's not
and there's,
problematic.
I mean, that's the access for the U-Haul, and they've got boulders along the side of the road, and there's no obvious parking, and
Right.
then you have to, I mean, walk through the weeds and over rough terrain and in amongst the tiny trees, and
Yeah.
it's like, it would be obvious that this isn't something that you would park your car and go look at, but maybe you would. Very visible though, out on the point, and not, I don't think it could get in the way of a tree.
Yeah, I looked at the location, I didn't think that was such a great location, not I mean, I like it in that grove, but I didn't think it needed to be so close to the road, but that was just me.
Also, Laura is just, she's very protective of the Centennial Grove. She
Yeah,
requested a lot of information and kept very close when we were doing the planning for the access. Just to make sure that wasn't.
Those would be very easy
impacted.
to find a new home for.
yeah, and I
So-
thought that she had signed off on it. I'm pretty sure Cynthia, we need Cynthia at this meeting, had said that she was okay with it, but I could be wrong. So I guess I'll have to get Cynthia to call her, or find out
So
what's
all
going on.
I'm hearing right now is that we've got three pieces. We got one piece that's just went in place, that Grant might have to move it. We got another piece that's almost in place and might not, might have a tough time getting it there. We got a third piece that was gonna go down there that now needs a new home. So we got three pieces that can potentially need three new homes.
Centennial Grove, it is a designated park.
Yeah,
And it's very large. I'm not worried about any impact to the trees or people being on site. She's correct that it's not like designated parking, but I don't know if that's an issue or not. So I guess that's just my 2 cents. I heard her wanting to be protective of it, but I don't think there's a concern.
I understand that too.
So I'll leave it to your
I
discretion.
mean, we're gonna be so close to each other that they don't make an impact because they are tall and skinny and we were gonna kind of stagger them.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it would be super interesting to have them in that, and people would drive by and go, wow, there's some art in that. I mean, do they even know it's a Garrio Grove if you aren't from here or, are aware of that?
So,
You don't probably
Who's
know.
gonna take this on to talk to her?
I think Cynthia should, they have a working relationship.
Okay, and Cynthia's gonna be watching this on the replay. Cynthia,
You're in charge.
you're gonna be in charge of seeing if we can. And when does council meets in June? Is your next?
We have a council meeting coming up next week, so.
Okay, okay, we'll get it. So-
Yeah,
We need to be prepared for,
we have one meeting in June and one in July.
because we need to be prepared when that question comes up with this. We might as well try to hit them all. Get all.
I'm just gonna share my screen real quick, just for anyone listening in.
Yeah,
Wondering what we're talking about. So this is Centennial Grove,
right.
and you can see these little patches here and there. Those are little oak grove grovettes.
Okay.
Small little patches of oak groves that the area say is planted. So you have like, I think there's 5. Might be a few more from when this picture was taken over here.
Well, then, yeah. maybe
Where
it
were you
should
thinking of
be.
the placement? You were saying along 20, like
Yeah,
here,
you point out where.
In this area.
in this area.
Yeah, okay, I'm for that.
Well, and that way you can see it when you're driving by.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not hiding behind a tree or you're not behind a boulder.
The new access road is going to line up with Whitney Drive here. We'll just continue Whitney Drive.
And that'll go all the way through to
Yeah.
that other road?
Yeah.
And what is the purpose of that? Just to get to the U-Haul place?
Yes.
Why can't we use the road that was built?
It's just a dirt road. And it's not what they wanted there. So it's actually.
Just be a
It's gonna
continuation.
be less expensive to go a straight shot. right to the middle.
And call it Whitney?
All that.
And so this other road here to the right is the dirt road?
That's just a dirt.
Okay.
access road.
And isn't it partially private property?
There is an easement there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the property lines is also an issue with it.
So is it gonna be a 2-lane road with parking? Or just 2 lanes each shoulder, no parking? Okay. Yeah, okay, I'm on board. If everyone else is.
Okay, so we gotta put her at ease and we'll tag Cynthia to work on that one. We have to, as far as,
I mean, yeah, if we have to meet her out there or something, I could totally do that.
And the Boys and Girls Club issue, what should be our way ahead for that?
City council.
We'll work, yeah.
Okay.
Look with your council on how they want to proceed. I'll just keep you guys updated.
All right. So that can bring us up to, we can leave a half an hour discussion on progress on the development of the priorities and planning for community engagement. We've done 2 meetings so far. Got it?
Yeah.
2 meetings. The last meeting, our discussion really kind of started to focus on item D was planning for community engagement. And I don't know if anybody else wants to jump in or, and right here,
You had a conversation with Maria? Didn't
I'll
you say
skip
you
to
had a
the
con-
community, for the community engagement piece. I met with Maria McGee, she's Lotus Tea Bar, and she's on the Asian Pacific Cultural Organization. And she asked me about doing something in Windjammer Park. I guess there's a
I think
Japanese,
I think he's talking about the Japanese garden.
the Japanese garden. She said they'd be interested in putting an art piece down there. They don't know what it would be because they haven't looked for art, but they'd like to. So it got my mind spinning a little bit on the community engagement. We wanted to do, we talked about, you can go big and listen to 40 different organizations talk and nobody have a chance to speak. But there's also a chance to narrow some things down, and given the fact that we meet every month, we could look at one of those community engagement, a potential partner, invite them to
I guess.
the meeting as a guest. Where, and we think about this, make a conscious effort to say, hey, we're gonna meet with you and we want to talk about some of the things that you like to talk about. So that we can listen and then we can start that dialogue. I'm going to invite her to come to the June meeting so that she can come and my thought from the Art Commission standpoint, I'd personally taken on this one, but if somebody else, because here's the list, Cynthia's pops up with all of these partners, potential partners that we don't know what they have to offer. They might not know what we have to offer, what overlaps, how we can create win-win situations and how it can help the city overall. And we can still do a giant thing, but we can take little bites by just inviting somebody. And if somebody else wanted to volunteer, say, oh, geez, I would, I'm on, the yoga dance studios. I'd like to be a part of that discussion. If you want to listen to me, and we could try to put them on the schedule so there'd be a little bit more meat on the Art Commission schedule. We'd be able to knock out 12 or potential partners.
The dance studio that Claudia had, and she's in Tucson now, she sold it to a friend for a student. And they have a very diverse cultural, and they're bilingual in Spanish. And they're very active in the community, so we could
Well, we
probably
could,
invite them.
that's just something that, okay, let's look at that one. There's some other ones that we could look at, because we might have like the Whitby Playhouse to come in and talk about the performing arts. We might have somebody else that we just invite them in for a session to observe us, listen to us, and we could listen to them. And at the same time, we still come up with working continuing with you to come up as far as the community plan and our priorities and look at our community engagement. This could be one element of community engagement. And I just throw that idea out there. There you have it. Thinking, eating the elephant one piece at a time. And still offering to, go bigger on some of these things where you like, okay, a certain area. So I throw that out for discussion.
Okay, so here's my concern. only because of all this talking about placement of art. Is it possible to put a piece of art in the Japanese garden in Windjammer Park? Do we have to like ask council, you know, I mean, that's an issue that,
I think anytime you're placing public art onto public property out there, you know, it's always good to run it by council, right?
That's,
Simply because art is, you know,
that's really not the point, because would be a question that they would come and ask us anyways.
who would ask?
They want to
They
choose
wanna
the art.
know if they can, like,
Oh, I see,
what's
okay.
the art commission do for me? Like that, it's a resource to me. I don't know how to use it. And we didn't know, I had no idea that they might want to do something like that. I might not have any idea what the Whitby Playhouse might
Right.
want to do something. So we can invite them, and then we come up, now you start coming up with these ideas and potential projects, and we can start scratching our head. How can we help them? And if it's good for the city. So I wasn't, not, you know, we might not come with anything. We might not get anything that we can get a decision on, but we can, it might be something that we can start, okay, let's put this on, we can start working towards this. We'll help you.
I'd like to see an annual cultural event that brings us together, and it happens every year, and you can put it on your calendar, and it's gonna be this weekend in the summer, and, you know, there's music and food and activities and chalk drawing and whatever we can come up with. JR's got magic and balloon tying or whatever we can. I mean, I did the thing at Fort Casey that you participated in, and I had the Saratoga Orchestra came up with their petting zoo, and I had Claudia's dancers, the kids, and then there were belly dancers, and there were artists showing art, and there was people doing gong and singing. Well, I just reached out to everyone I knew that had a weird side gig. And it would work. I mean, it really, really worked. It
Yeah.
was a free day at the park, and kite flyers were out there. I mean, it was just something for everyone. Bubble
So-
machines.
Those are just other ideas for community engagement.
Yeah. So that's what we're gonna build towards, is that inclusion, right?
And as far as progress on development on the priorities, I think that's where we're kind of at right now, is looking at the community engagement side. I don't know if there was anything on the spreadsheet that you would offer.
So this is 2 meetings we've had. We've made a
Right.
good little framework here for what the key issues are, just focusing on these 5 areas. You also have public policy down here as well.
Yep.
I would now start just kind of focusing on the action items, because it's just gonna be our to-do checklist, and how we want to proceed with that. So why don't you, what I would say is kind of next steps, once you have, okay, well, here's the key issues of what we want to focus on this year and into next year. And here's what we want to get out of those, whether it be the creation of a cultural event, festival, whatever. A stakeholder group meeting, and maybe start on the public art plan, and kind of go along with stakeholder group meeting, public engagement, whether that's working with the website or developing some of these listening sessions, separate from a stakeholder group meeting. Assign yourselves out. Start having some meetings with you guys, just probably no more than 2 of you, and assign some staff to help out.
I think the priority, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but we really wanted to start getting involved with stakeholders, and finding out who they were,
Yeah, you have a pretty good list here.
because this is what we've drafted so far. This is just an initial cut. So it's really like doing that thing where we give a quick, here we are, the Art Commission, we're here to help. And then start to listen to some of these stakeholders. creating that forum. And if we use if we go over to the center, and then it's a question of how big we want to get, because if it gets too big, we're gonna, and to generate a survey, because that was the other kind of a survey or a input,
Monkey thing.
a survey monkey, where you could say, okay, this is what I'd like to see. I represent this. I have an interest in this. Here's my contact information, et cetera, et cetera. And then how do we get the word out? This meeting is going to occur.
Do we have to explain what we're trying to build or create?
Well, that should only take about 10 minutes.
I mean-
If that, because we're open for ideas.
But yes, I definitely
Yeah.
think it helps if you can articulate, hey, this
Yes.
is the purpose of
We're inviting you here
what
because,
information we want and why we want it
Yes.
and what we're going to do with that information.
Yeah. okay,
Because it's not, we want to open a two-way conversation, not a one-way conversation that says, hey, we're here, we're going to show you where we're putting all this art, and we're going to do it. We got some of that stuff. We want to be able to help you. Help you can help us, which we can help the city. We can all create a true community and use
Build
art
relationships.
to beautify the overall garden.
So one thing I mean, that kind of came to mind is if you try to invite all of these individually, obviously you're gonna take forever to do that. So kind of a precursor to the public survey could be a private one that's geared towards these stakeholders. And you can kind of spell out your mission. This is, we've identified you as a public stakeholder. And then these are our thoughts. This is what we would like to accomplish. Could you help us rate these, in your view, 1 through 10 or 1 through 5 or whatever? And then in addition, what would you like to see in Oak Harbor? Or what thoughts do you have for community art? And then you can extend the invitation to them. We are meeting, we meet these days and we invite you to join us at any time during our meetings. That way you're not having to individually reach
Right.
out to every one of them and make that invitation and hope that when it comes that time, you kind of reach them all at once and start to get that feedback. And then you can use that as kind of the foundation for your public.
I really
Good
like
idea.
that.
This is a findable list. These are the nonprofits on the island. There's a source to get these addresses and contact
Yeah.
information. So it would be easy to, like you said, just mass mail or something,
Yeah.
these organizations, and
Is
some will
that,
bite, some might not bite.
Sure.
well, the people that bite, those are the people that are
That have a
interested.
voice.
And then it's like, okay, they're willing to listen to me, I'm willing to listen to you. So this could be the start of a beautiful friendship.
Exactly.
So then we have to come up with a survey or a form.
A form of some kind, yeah.
So let me show you again, what I put there from our last. So we talked about a couple different methods of doing that. So we had survey with a goal of 500 responses. Digital survey, have paper copies available as well. Promote as well as you have an incentive with that, maybe from Main Street. And then focus groups, we're gonna talk about via Zoom, just because it's a lot easier to do larger meetings like that virtually. Makes it easier for them and also gives you a little better control over who's speaking when. Neighborhood groups, associations, affinity groups, nonprofits or community organizations. 20 participants or less is kind of what we I thought was manageable. You're right, it's you have a pretty good list of stakeholders here. You're not going to get all these groups into one room.
Nor do
Maybe we should
want-
start with them, the stakeholders.
Yeah, like
And,
Eric said,
yeah, like Eric said. I think
put
that's-
together a description of what we're trying to accomplish and then let them add their pieces. Like I always thought we should have a this, or maybe we should try to have a that. And just like the guy that came with the idea to put art on the concrete pier end. I mean, there's voices out there. There's people that, notice things or want things to notice.
So with the focus groups, we're gonna have like guided presentations. So, talk a little bit about, why they're there, what's the kind of feedback you want from them, what you're going to use it for. Get some of those, you can do it through the chat, you can do it through survey links, a couple different ways of doing that. Let everyone have a chance to give their input, but definitely do it in kind of facilitated way. There's also a couple different, if you want to do more large scale, that's more like a community webinar. You can also do a website thing where people go on and, like I said, fill a survey. That's a really easy way to get a lot of good information without having to wrangle cats in a meeting as well. So we have looked at,
Now, is this something that we could say for our next meeting in June, we would be prepared to talk about that survey?
yeah, so
So-
for
I'll
the
work on it.
Survey, this is what,
Have you ever done anything like this, Brian? The survey or the
Yeah.
gathering? Okay.
so this was the draft. I haven't done much, I haven't done anything with it since. I was out of town this week, but community vision, what are a couple words that come to mind when describing Oak Harbor as a community? What about Oak Harbor makes it unique? My favorite activity involving arts and or culture in Oak Harbor is. My favorite activity involving arts or culture around Whidbey Island is. What activities would you like to see more of in Oak Harbor? And we can change this list, but this was just kind of what I got from you guys as we were talking last time. Art exhibitions, live music, live performances, arts, crafts, festivals, literary events, youth-based arts activities, festivals, historical, cultural events, or other. What types of arts and culture classes are you interested in? So this is more the programming side of things. And then talking about public arts. And we can add to this as well. I noticed that we don't have a magician's clinic. Fine art,
Secret.
cultural traditions, dance classes, creative writing, music, graphic design, theater, drama, storytelling, cooking, cuisine, other. You could have like a we didn't have crafting in here.
So I go back to like having this thing hit the street. So electronically, physically, however it is, first, the thing's gotta get done. So we would have to collaborate on that, come to an agreement with, yes, this is what we want. And two, how do we disseminate this? So once it's disseminated, then it's, okay, now then we start getting feedback and we get our information. And we find out who our interested parties and interested stakeholders are. So how do we, and if we said, put the, June, let's have this thing. We all agree, we can vote, we like this survey. Are we gonna need this, to get approval to send this out?
I don't know, does the city have any communication policies as far as surveys? I'm sure Sabrina will
Right.
want to take a look at it. She'll be the one helping us put
Because-
it out anyway. I don't think it needs to necessarily go to council.
But yeah, but
They'll
we
wanna see
still,
the
yeah,
information.
it's like, we don't want to turn around, like, what?
Well, I'd like to let them know what we're doing from the beginning, so they watch us grow and watch us proceed or.
Yeah, we can add that in with like the administrator's report, just give them a heads up, hey, we're developing and going to be putting out an art survey.
They might have some
Because-
ideas.
We could even turn around this and try to get it on the council for June.
So let me send this out to you guys. So
Yes.
right now it touches on community vision, activities, public arts, demographics. Really what you want to ask yourself in the survey, because you want to keep it short enough that people will take it.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh, this is a half hour of my day, make it as very succinct as possible. So you just want to ask yourself the question, what information
I
do
want to
I
hear.
need?
Yeah.
Right, that is gonna help me make decisions going forward. And cut out all the rest of the fluff stuff. So take a look at that, see if there's anything you want to add into this. As far as demographics, I just put in the generic. Do you live, work, and or visit Oak Harbor? What's your age range and your ethnicity, race? I don't know whether or not you need all that. Does social economic demographics matter? What demographics do you want to know and why?
I think knowing culture or race would help us find out what the needs are.
Sure.
I mean, we all don't need the same thing or want the same thing. Maybe we have just different versions of the same thing.
Like, for instance, it might be useful to ask a question like, do you consider yourself an underserved population, right? Are you part of a community or group that you feel does not have the same access to services or same access to cultural events or whatever that is as other people? Whether it's what's your barrier to participation that you feel you have?
If you get that out to us, then we'll start chomping on this, and then we can make that our primary item for June meeting, and then how to implement it. Which leads us to member comments going around. Did we lose Mary?
Oh, she's on. No. She's still there.
Says
Mary, do you have any comments? Okay, she turned her camera off. She is still on. I'm monitoring that too.
Okay.
I just,
I'll just, one comment, I'm on the district parental advisory committee, school district, and I told our superintendent and our vice superintendent about the wrapping project. And they were very excited to hear that. And it helps that the new superintendent, she's a former art teacher.
That's right.
So
Exciting.
they were, said, we're throwing this, it's a softball for you. You guys can knock this out of the park. We'll help you do it. So they were very excited about taking that on. That's my comment.
I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but there's a city employee who I adore, and he had this great idea, and it was to ultimately wrap the Portland Loos. And my idea for wrapping the Portland Loos was to take a picture, let's say we're in Flintstone Park, go on the other side of the Loos and take a picture of Mailer Point, and then put that on the box so they almost disappear in their optical illusion, but it also gives you a softened, you didn't lose the view because this is what it always is, and maybe the background is that color sky, which is our normal color sky, but I think that would be amazing because it's just, you can see it, touch it, and it also, maybe you wouldn't even notice that it was a bathroom.
Which is my only concern.
Right.
Oh.
No one to be so
All of a sudden,
Yeah,
they're
run and
like,
chase
"Somebody
the
go back
football."
there."
It's right over there. Where?
These put restaurants in the park.
I thought that was a statue. I thought it was a work of art.
You're a toilet.
Some kid will wild coyote right into it.
oh,
So there's that.
Other members, comments, members, anyone?
I'm not a member, but I have a comment. At the beginning of the meeting, you skipped from agenda to public comments, but forgot to approve the minutes
Oh,
from the last 3
that's
meetings.
true.
That's true.
Thank you.
Where we got, you're here. Okay. We're art commission meeting, take two.
Are we off?
No, we're still on.
Okay,
So we're gonna go back
well,
to
yeah,
the
you
minutes.
did throw out three
Sets.
sets of minutes.
Um,
Oh, and I forgot to read
Cynthia's comments.
Cynthia's
Yeah,
comments.
Okay, let's wait on member comments, or do you want to finish member comments and then go back?
I'll do Cynthia.
Okay, do Cynthia's comments.
Okay, one small typo on the 420 minutes twice. She wanted to know about, did Therese talk to Regency about a presentation?
No.
Okay. And she said, also says that Joanna Hanson and Cynthia are gonna be looking to talk about a buskers program and bringing that down to the June meeting. And then she mentioned about the stakeholders that's been put out in front of us. And she requests a member from the Parks Board meet with the Art Commission on the idea for the Gate of Inspiration, where we're gonna put it. So that's the one that was, yes, I was gonna go there. Okay, so where are we gonna put the Gate of Inspiration?
It looks like a giant rock solving robot.
So, and then she wanted to know about another planning meeting for us. What's your schedule look like so that we can have another one of those meetings at your place?
So,
And while you're thinking about that, then we can go and talk about the minutes.
so you want to put Gate of Inspiration in one of the parks?
What about the pathway, Fred Marsh pathway? Can't we put some art along that?
Is that,
What about
I
there?
thought about it
Yeah.
when you plant that
Ultimately, it
thing.
should just be an art trail.
Yeah, and it can be. so
If
that
you
would
put
be
that
perfect.
down and we knew where because you can just figure out when the
Oh, yeah,
sun
we
or the
talked
moon
about
is
this,
coming
yeah.
up, so it would be, this is it, every May 17th at 6 PM or 6
You can
AM.
hold the moon.
The sun comes right up here and the moon's gonna be right here and this is
It's got 4 squares in its core that used to have glass blocks in it.
So we just have to figure out where the sun comes through one of those squares when it comes up on the horizon.
Epic.
And
It'd be so
epic, and
epic.
we just make it up. I'm like, oh, I can't, I'm on the record saying we're not gonna lie about it. Yeah, no, this is it.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
How's, how's Thursday the 25th?
Thursday, 25 May.
Yeah, I'm sure it works for me.
Time.
Whatever works best for you guys. We've been scheduling a lunch mostly out of hope that it's convenient to go during a lunch break, but
Joanna couldn't really do lunch hours.
we could do,
Like if you do more than an hour, I think.
She's got a commute to Cooper.
what's a good time for a joint?
I'm not sure.
We might not
Probably
be able to get,
after work,
Might
yeah.
not.
we might not get perfect time. And it's like, okay, let's. Time where we can
We're
get the majority.
flexible at lunch. It helps.
I can do whenever.
Just say noon,
It's really whatever it's to.
we'll call it for noon.
Yeah,
hour?
let's stick to
For
the
now.
lunch thing for now, because it seems to work.
BYO bag.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm the only one who brought something.
I ate it before I left home.
When you send out that invite, Michelle?
Thank you. Yeah, approval of minutes. And I was right there. Approval of minutes. The minutes were sent out. Did everybody have a chance to look at it?
Which meeting minutes did Cynthia have a
Mhm.
suggested change on?
3B, regular
From-
meeting on April 13th.
Yeah, I left out the word, it just said chair. I had to add the word vice chair to the motion, so I corrected it.
well, I move to accept the meeting minutes from March 9th, the revised meeting minutes from March 13th, and the meeting minutes from April 20th. That's-
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Mary?
You know, me and Mary's done.
I was giving you, I'm gonna present you with the
You vote?
purple pen of the distinction for moving this meeting along. And with
Mary,
that,
did you have any member comments? Okay, thank you.
okay, determination of future agenda items. One of them that we've got on there is the buskers. I am gonna bring in, I'll plan on bringing in Maria McGee to talk about Asian Pacific and their organization and what they're looking at. And then the survey.
Yeah.
That'll be our big thing, because that will open the gateway towards our community engagement.
It looked like it was really close to done based on what you put up there. I mean, it has a really good outline.
We just have,
Just tweak it.
That's a draft outline, I'll send out to you guys. You want it on a shared document, and you can all
Yes.
just make edits from
Yes.
the same document
yes,
and track the changes. Okay, do it that way. I'm out there with a draft RFP for our plan consultant as well. We can go over that for the next meeting.
that would be a good thing to discuss at the next meeting, because that will, we can also jump on the survey, because we might be in that position on our formal meeting to say, let's go.
Will that be helpful to have that survey results for the art plan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That'll save us some money, because they would normally go and do that.
right, that,
But we can do that now, so we don't have to pay somebody to do that.
well, thanks, everybody, for coming. Anybody want to quit?
I was just gonna say something after the camera was off.
Hold on, we'll do executive session.
No,
Oh, do I?
Bye, everybody.
Do anybody want to give a motion to adjourn? Am I doing that right?
Yep.
Okay,
Let's do it.
okay, all in
Bye,
favor?
Mary.
The second meeting.
Seconded,
Give a second.
Carla
I'll
seconded.
second it.
So.
Okay, all in favor?
Uh,
Okay, we're adjourned.
I got